Next, the upper-lower split. This is a larger muscle grouping in that all of your pushing and pulling muscles are grouped together now. So this, of course, gives all of the muscles of the upper body more anatomical ability to work together cooperatively. So that is a good thing. However, that still does leave the question of when you would perform your deadlifts and any other exercises that are done for the entire posterior chain, since the entire posterior chain runs from your upper back to your calves. So while there are more kinetic chains that can work together cooperatively with this, I would say that it's not the most anatomically optimal, but it is still an anatomical pro, okay? This is a good way of dividing up muscle groups. Next, when it comes to the frequency implications and the rest periods that each muscle is getting between training, this gives you the most freedom for different frequencies because you could do this as a 2-day-a-week split where you do one upper day and one lower day, or you could be doing a 6-day split where everything gets trained 3 times per week and has 48 hours of rest between, or you could be doing anything in between. You could be doing upper 3 times a week and lower twice per week. You could be doing upper 2 times per week and lower once per week. This gives you so much freedom for scheduling and getting different frequencies, which could even be different for the upper and the lower body. This also gives you the ability to manipulate other training variables, such as the rest period between muscles. But I would say that when it comes to frequency, this is highly optimal. So now let's talk about loading. This gives you the ability to use any number of loads because of the fact that you can manipulate the frequency and the rest periods so easily. So that if on one upper day you used a heavy load and then you were not recovered within 48 hours, you could either just wait another day or you could train other muscles of the upper body. So this split gives you the ability to manipulate the training variables of loading and frequency and what muscle groups you are grouping together for each session. And so what you find is that when you have this much freedom, because you are working with a much larger set of muscle groups together, you have so many different training variables to manipulate that you will find work together cooperatively as you are doing so. And as you manipulate them cooperatively together, they have more of a synergistic effect. So you're able to manipulate what specific muscle groups you are training together, what the frequency is, what the loading is, and the volume implications and allocation for this one is very good as well. And again, works cooperatively with the loading. Since again, if you wanted to train heavy on one day, you can do your volume allocation such that you spread your volume out throughout the week. And it will train at a low volume on that one heavy day so that you can get recovered within 48 hours. And then we'll train with more volume on that day and then more volume 2 more days later. So you're able to do a higher weekly volume without feeling as though you are overtraining on any one day, even when lifting heavy loads. So all the different aspects of training and variables here are all not only pros, but are working together so cooperatively and can be manipulated together for such a great synergy. So this is a highly optimal split. And when it comes to cons, besides the deadlift and posterior chain issue, I would say that the only con is that you still have a limit to the amount of frequency that each muscle group can train with this split. And that if you wanted to train each muscle group 3 times per week with this, you can, but that would mean training 6 days per week, which is something you're not going to do all the time long term. So in the end, this is probably going to result in a general median of your lower body getting trained twice per week and your upper body getting trained approximately 2 to 2.5 times per week on average. So while the frequency is better than the last one, it's not ideal. There is that limitation, but nothing is without drawbacks. And lastly, I would say that one of the issues that I have not only with this split, but with everyone I've talked about so far is that each one of these has a leg day. And I, like everyone else, hate leg day. And I find that when there is a leg day, I'm more apt to not have fun on that day and want to skip that training, which I don't do anymore. I used to do it, but I don't anymore. I just really don't enjoy it, and I really prefer to enjoy my training. So I would say that that's another con for all of these splits so far. That having a leg day at all is another con, since there is a split that doesn't, which is coming up next. But these cons for the upper-lower split are really not bad. They're like nothing. So it really is mostly pros, and I would say that it is, in my professional opinion, a highly optimal split that is one of the best that you should be using a lot of the time.